Wolf pack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street. RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with another best ball draft, this time with a focus on the 2026 rookie class, specifically from a best ball angle as well. So I just want to make sure to give that preface that, yes, I'm going to have some player takes. Of course, that could ideally help you in your rookie drafts, your dynasty drafts, but what I'm going to largely be doing is just looking at where these rookies are going in current 2026 drafts, maybe help you get ahead for your 2026 redraft and best ball prep, or maybe you're crazy like me and playing best ball right now, and this can be of immediate action. But come on in if you want to learn about this rookie class specifically from the redraft angle, and then I will, of course, end with a draft. Just so you guys know, too, where I kind of get my rookie takes. Some of my favorite guys are Dane Brugler, Trevor Sikkema, Scott Barrett, Fantasy Points crew, JJ Zacharyson, Pat Kerrane, the ship chasing crew. That's kind of where I get my research. I used to love diving into the film, doing a lot myself. I really looks like we are good. Sorry, lost the video there for just a quick second. Hopefully you were able to still hear the audio. And now back into this breakdown of the rookie class. Again, just wanted to shout out some of my favorite experts in the space, the ones I lean upon. In general, though, just like best ball overview, best ball strategy with rookies. Couple quick thoughts on the class as a whole as well. Rookies can often be the biggest home runs. And when best ball first opened, I've been doing this for a while, really hardcore the last few years, but I always sprinkled in some drafts. Like Jamar Chase was a round 8 pick, that type of thing. Doesn't happen anymore. Anybody watching the show probably has done some best ball and recognized how appropriately rookie prices have risen. Oftentimes that's because some of the biggest smashes every year with or without these higher prices are rookies. 2 years ago, we had Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, both top 12 going after round 9. Brian Thomas, the number 3 wide receiver in fantasy, the number 1 receiver during the most important playoff weeks while Mac Jones was at QB. Huge hit. In that same class, Malik Neighbors. We did have that absolute flop from MHJ, but Bo Nix, QB7, solid stuff. That 2024, if you invested heavily in rookies, you largely won. But then the prices continued to climb. 2025, some hits, I guess, in a sense. Scatterbo, he is supposed to be the generational running back class, and Scatterbo looked like a true league winner. And then he gets hurt. Henderson had his stretches, but third round worthy, no. Hampton gets hurt. Genty couldn't find any breathing room. So running back class was largely a bust last year. And just in general, there wasn't a ton of rookie production. You had Ibuka for some stretches. You had Luther Burden for some stretches, but ultimately was not the year to be heavily weighted on rookies. And I think that's depressing. The whole point of recapping all that is I do think rookies have now gone backwards in pricing. And maybe that is because this class just blows. That's the whole kind of narrative on this 2026 class, is that it's awful and that it's going to be very hard. It's Jeremiah Love, and good luck finding another 2 to 3 usable pieces. And, maybe that's the truth. A lot of people I respect seem to believe that, but I still think there is now more intriguing prices on these rookies that it's worth the potential squeeze. You barely have to get any effort to pluck these guys once again. And if a Casey Concepcion, if Jonah Coleman, if some of these guys that flash some real ability end up just surprising and being better than people expect, we could end up with some really nice hits in the 100+ pick range. And there's, of course, the Jeremiah Loves and these people that could be massive hits as well, will likely be massive hits even at their round 1 or 2 prices. So I am back interested in rookies in best ball for sure. Despite last year being a bit of disappointment, I do think the prices are down, that back-weighted upside, especially at receiver, as we're going to talk about some tight ends that really intrigue me in this class. And you know what? There's a couple valuable spots at running back, whether it's the Seahawks, Commanders, the right rookie lands there, and they're going to be an RB2 plus in fantasy. Just such a fertile environments for both spots with really very little competition. So I am very intrigued to see what rookies land there. I'm happy to fire some darts at the Jonah Colemans, at the Jadarian Prices, in hopes of landing one of those 2 spots. If Jeremiah Love lands with the Commanders, holy crap, there we go. So that's just a general thought on the class, on the best ball prices right now. I like investing. I think I've always chased rookies, and in 2024, smashed. 2025 did not have the best of at least pre-draft best ball. Once you have a shot of the landing spots, things shake out. But I was leaned a little too much into last year's rookies without knowing the landing spots, without ultimately just kind of blindly after such a good smash in 2024. And this year, obviously, you approach with a little more skepticism because of how people are down on the class. But the prices are making there's going to be a few big hits is what I'm getting at. I really do think so. So without further ado, let's start to dive into position by position. I'm going to bring up like the best ball rankings so you guys get a sense of the 2026 rankings where rookies are falling in. Quarterbacks will be very quick. There's only 2 names to discuss, but we'll just go quickly, like position by position, which rookies there are a couple that I have 30% plus of. I do often find my players I lock in on, and sometimes it works great. Kyron Williams 2 years ago, last year Jadon Blue. So it swings and ebbs and flows, but I'll let you guys know what rookies I really like at what prices, and conversely, the rookies I don't like, who am I looking at and why don't I like them? Again, best ball format. Just want to make sure that's clear. It will bleed into your dynasty leagues, your rookie leagues, but if you truly want that type of perspective, I will be doing shows on that in the very near future. I do really kind of like to wait for the class level. If you're drafting dynasty drafts before it lands, you're sick. If you're doing these drafts right now, you're sick. But at least there's a lot of money on the line right now too. So, alrighty, we will dive into. I'm just going to flash one more time the rookie QBs right now and where they're kind of going in this class. And I really think it comes down to 2 names. We've got Mendoza. So let me just kind of show you where he's going. I might have to even load more. No, there he is, Mendoza right here. So the quarterback 28 after Jacoby Brissett and sandwich between Geno Smith and Jacoby Brissett. That's a pretty disgusting sandwich if you don't mind me saying. His value did take a decent hit recently with Kirk Cousins landing there. Who knows how long he'll end up sitting. I like Mendoza certainly as a prospect. I think he is definitely the far and away best QB in this class. I think there's just winner to him. I do like the guy. So I do think he'll be the one certainly making the starts down your stretch where the points matter most. And his price has taken a little bit of a drop. For a while, he was kind of in this 140-ish, the Cam Ward, Bryce Young range. He's taken that, appropriate 17 to 20 drop. If I'm going to just wait on QB, though, I most often have my quarterback already taken. In redraft, he doesn't really intrigue me much. So the rookie I'm actually landing a little bit more. It's still not a ton, but I'm still intrigued by Ty Simpson right now. There's a bit of the Tyler Shuck play of last year, who was, I believe, on the $1 million winning team. Only got you 4 or 5 starts, but as a last-round pick with maybe some ability to evade, not necessarily a run-first quarterback, but when he gets going, has some athleticism, has some size, can probably run in for some touchdowns. Ty Simpson could fit that Shuck bill. Shuck guy I love this year, no doubt about that. But I am intrigued by Ty Simpson. And so, especially at 227, that's the difference is he goes for free versus Mendoza, who goes 157, and neither are guaranteed to start the full year. Certainly, I don't think Simpson will. And I do want to know what ecosystem he's being raised in. But I do think wherever he lands, he might end up becoming a guy that you want in that Shuck sense of last year. That's all I got for quarterback. I think those are the only 2 that even in like dynasty leagues are truly worth discussing. In terms of rookie running backs, so as everybody has kind of alluded to, I'm scrolling here to Jeremiah Love. Yeah, there he is. So he goes 16.5 overall, deservedly so. As many have talked about, a Bijan, Gibbs, maybe not quite in the tier of those 2, but if like the next man up, was Genty, a lot of people say that they'd put Love above Genty type of prospect. So very intrigued, to say the least, from a talent perspective. Landing spot will certainly help to some extent or hurt to some extent. I think the worst rumor is the Giants right now, which actually as an overall offense, I don't hate. I think if there was no Scatabo, who could be the worst of vultures, receptions, touchdowns, then you got Tyron Tracy also solid. You got Harbaugh, who he does love to run the rock, and if you spend that type of capital, you really gonna give anybody else the rock? I do think it's more so the other 2 just kind of. Scatabo won't disappear though. I like Scatabo a lot, so I think he'd be annoying enough that I still probably like Love, but that would be a tough spot. Titans an ugly overall offense, but Daboll could make things solid there. Even like Singletary was having some huge years under Daboll, loves throwing to the back. So I actually don't even hate the Titans from a sheer volume perspective. I think he could just kick Pollard to the curb. The ideal nuts, though, is, of course, the Commanders. So when you're drafting Love, you're kind of hoping for that spot at 7. And I would say I'd have him above Genty, above Cook, above McCaffrey. I'd want a bit of both, so it depends. I'd probably have McCaffrey, last year's number 1 player, above him. But of course, the year I go into McCaffrey, he's going to get hurt. That's how it goes. He'd be in that range. That's how talented he is. And then it's, I know in the next rookie that goes is Jadarian Price. But again, I do think it's worth getting shares. I actually wanted to say with Jeremiah Love, I just want to go back up to him. The one reason I'm not getting a ton either is one, because I think there's a couple landing spot mines that he's rumored to potentially be going to. But I also love Ken Walker. He already has jumped him now at this point. But for a while, Ken Walker was going significantly after Love, about 5 or 6 picks. And I was always going to go Kenneth Walker now with the Chiefs for that. I'd always go Marion Hampton, and I always go Genty. I do take Love above Barkley and Achane, though. So at times I do get him. But more often than not, I'm just stacking my bag with Kenneth Walker right now. Stacking the bag, stuffing it. So that is the breakdown of the running backs. Jeremiah Love, the running backs. And maybe really honestly could stop there, but I'll just highlight a few more picks and players here. So I got to maybe Jadarian Price. Alrighty, so he's going right after Pollard. And this is a fine price. I think what you're really playing for at this point is, like I kind of alluded to in the overall class preview, do I hit the Seahawks running back? Do I hit the Commanders running back? If Price goes to one of those teams, round 2, some people saying Seahawks even round 1. If he goes to the Seahawks round 1, you got to kind of vault this guy. Just off the top of my head, where would I put him? Depends what happens to Scatterbo. Right in this range at minimum, maybe above Bayshall, who I love. We'll see what they do. I'd have him above Judkins. I'd have him above Henderson, probably. Not above Javonte, maybe above Bucky. Very intriguing spot. And that's not even – Jadarian Price isn't even my number 2 prospect. He's most people. He's the consensus one. I love Emmett Johnson, so we'll talk about him in a sec. But I still am open to taking stabs of Price at this price. Jeez, can't believe I had that one slip out yet. Price at this price, at this cost, I would take Jadarian Price. But just as I alluded to too, I don't get a ton of him because more often this is where I'm kind of quarterback market's all up in whack this year. And not even up in whack. I understand it. It makes sense. The Sims are saying it's the right thing to do. 3 quarterbacks is the new rage. And if you don't get your second or third quarterback by this, like, Tyler Shuck for me is honestly where I draw that line. I want 3 by the time it gets to him. And so I'm not often getting the running backs, including Price, in this range. If I'm desperate for a running back, it probably means I need something safer. And so I like Dobbins. I like Corum. So not a ton of Price for me. I will say, so I do like Coleman, and he's starting to fall quite a bit. I've seen him going like 140, 150. He's got that Seahawks Washington connection, could be the bulldozer that lands there. Even if he doesn't, has touchdown upside. Mike Washington, the uber athletic freak, 4.33, like 220 or something crazy like that. Insane Raz, insane everything, very upright, not like the clearest. He doesn't look like a very talented running back, not overly smooth, but man, you get that type of athleticism, you get the right coaching, you get in the right one cut and go. If he goes to the Commanders, he could be a guy that's running off space. And I love Krosky Merritt while I wait to see what happens, but Mike Washington. So they're the running back 2 and 3 in best ball. And then I believe Emmett Johnson comes off next. Love that price tag on him. He's such a valuable pass catching skill set with the ability to be a true 3-down guy. Love him. I think he is going to land somewhere that max. If you draft him, you want a pass catching running back. Hugely valuable in this range of Woody Marks behind David Montgomery. Yeah. Above Emmanuel Wilson, who I don't even hate the Emmanuel Wilson dart throw right now, but if you tell me Emmett Johnson goes to Seattle, he's not better immediately than Emmanuel Wilson. Probably had that one great game as a starter, but I don't even want to hate Manny Wilson. I like Manny Wilson. Two great picks right here, but I lean Emmett Johnson for the rookie, little dash of upside. And then Singleton has that 4 speed. I really do like. I have a big bag of Katron Allen. Huge production profile, big guy. I mean, his nickname is Fat Katron. So I don't know if I love or hate that. Should hate it, but I've always had a fondness for the plotters at the running back position. And Katron fits the bill, and he can churn. So another guy that could just land in the right spot and stumble his way into 8 to 10 touchdowns. So those are the guys. Claiborne's got a lot of explosivity, but so small. So those are the ones that make up the rest of my rookie running backs. I kind of wish I had a little more Singleton, but he's still got that broken foot, and I just often go Katron instead. I'm trying to think if there's any others. Let me just pull up a quick couple notes I had. I really do think it kind of stops there. I mean, some people, I get the Seth McGowan production profile, Jamari Taylor. Take some stabs, see who lands, because those guys aren't getting drafted in a lot of these. And I do think if one of them hits big, then great. You get the Seattle guy out of those. They still could potentially do some damage, but at a certain point, the prospect just becomes not worth, bothering with. So again, that's my thoughts on the rookie running backs. If you guys are enjoying what you're hearing, before we just quickly cover the rookie receivers and tight ends, which I think are the most important part of this class, but if you enjoy what you're hearing, whether you're on Twitter, heart button, YouTube, the thumbs up. Some people are on Facebook. I still think we just toss it on StreamYard. I think it goes out on Facebook as well. The thumbs up button always helps us grow. The likes, the shares, all that stuff is so greatly appreciated if you enjoy the content. And again, we will be diving into this rookie class in more detail from a dynasty lens, certainly in the near future. This is my best ball, where they're currently going in redraft best ball drafts right now. Who do I like to invest in? Who do I not? So that kind of lens where you can still learn some of my guys. Katron Allen, one of my guys, a 30% roster him at this price right now. Think he could be a complete nothing. Could be, I've had a bet for Estime last year. I did something similar 2 years ago, whenever he was. It didn't work out, but every now and again, like Bucky Irving a couple of years ago, you just kind of take some stabs and something could pan out big. All right, quick swig of water, and then we're going to dive into the rookie receivers, where probably the most interesting. All righty. So rookie receivers in 2026 best ball. Who am I targeting? Where am I at? All righty. So the first one off the board, I believe, is Carnell Tate. And I'll just say, from a ranking perspective, I prefer Lemon straight up. So I don't get really any Tate. I'll just use the search Tate. Wide receiver 58, but it's better to see. All right, I'll scroll slower too. Let me know too if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm more than happy to answer anything. We'll get a live draft fired up in maybe 10 minutes here. So Carnell Tate at 58. I'm certainly going to go Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. Devontae Adams makes no sense to me, the price tag right now. He's getting bashed, and maybe everyone's going to prove right, but I am going to keep betting on Devontae for as long as I possibly can. So I don't get a lot of Tate because I'm always going to go any of those three. Waddle, of course, if he fell. And even behind him, I like Christian Watson more. And like I said, I like Mekhi Lemon if I'm going to go receiver. Still like Tate, but I honestly think there's a very good chance he's the first guy off the board, and that means he's going to the Browns. And no thanks. I think I'm okay there. Maybe Shedeur takes a big step. I don't know. It's not like the Browns are without upside. They certainly need targets, but the quarterback situation, is Watson going to – do you really want to root for Watson? I don't know. I don't want whoever lands on the Browns. I probably don't want whoever lands on the Dolphins. And, two of these guys are probably going to get picked off. I don't even hate the Dolphins, especially if it's like a Lemon who can give that layup type of first read vacuum. He's my first receiver because of that. The Amon-Ra St. Brown comparison is very easy to draw. USC, certainly not as thick or strong as St. Brown, but brings a lot in that route running separation, slot dominant type role. Big fan of Mekhi Lemon. I think even in Dynasty redraft, when you draft him, you shoehorn. It's kind of like why I like Emmett Johnson, and certainly what his price. But if you're drafting Mekhi Lemon, you almost want that target volume hog type guy. It's a fantasy-friendly role, and I really like Mekhi Lemon. Even if he ended up going somewhere with the Rams where he's more developmental, they had years where three receivers, Kupp, Woods, who was the other one? Brandon Cooks. They had 3 top 20 wide receivers multiple times. So I'm happy if one of these guys goes there. Everybody, the whole rave right now is about Jordan Tyson. I don't know what to make of it because I hear both sides of it. And I resonate with both. There's how is this hamstring still going on? Maybe he's not tough, but there's also if somebody hits their full ceiling, if the injuries just are kind of like tough luck these last couple, I don't know. That is always a risky bet, but if they are, then he is certainly the highest upside ceiling. And a lot of guys I like, JJ Zachariason, I believe, is saying that. Mike Renner, I was listening to a show with him and the Establish the Run crew, great podcast today. And Renner's on with the Fantasy Points crew. I'm very much enjoying that. Jordan Tyson certainly has that ceiling to clearly run away with this class. But also the hamstring concerns, I can't dismiss completely either. Still like him though, going in, he's starting to fall because these things have been so overblown to like the 75-ish range. I think more steam is now building because of these great experts releasing their takes. Tyson starting, I'm seeing the ADP start to climb. I think he's going to be going closer to this range by the end of it all. I don't mind getting some now, but I do prefer a lot of times to even all these rookies. I love, call me boring, but I love Michael Wilson. I love Parker Washington, Alec Pierce. I honestly go the other 2 guys I just highlighted more often, or I see Watson fall. So I get some, though. I'm not without them. And then I believe it's a pretty big drop-off for the next rookie. If I'm not mistaken, it's Concepcion, 114. See, that's why I don't get a ton. Because if you told me Casey Concepcion ends up being the best rookie of this class for wide receivers, it wouldn't stun me. I don't think if I had to put my money on somebody, it wouldn't be Concepcion. But if you could give me plus 750 odds, I would actually probably bet on him more than any of the others. It can get separation, great bet to be an immediate producer wherever he lands right off the jump. Downside cases like Wan'Dale Robinson, who's with the Titans and going at 102 because we know what he is, and there's a ceiling to be a lot more in my opinion. So I'm a big Concepcion fan for sure. If this price is, again, I was talking about that quarterback window. Ideally, I have it closed, and I can just take a little pluck here. I do love Jaden Reed as well, so I certainly have more Reed than Concepcion, but I think I'll wrap up draft season really trying to hammer him. I do really like Josh Downs. I think it's a bit about what does your team need right now. If I'm looking for my wide receiver 3, I probably have to go with Downs or Reed, something I know if it stays healthy gets points, something. Whereas Concepcion, he can be my 4th, my 5th especially, great. Tack that upside on. A little bit higher ceiling, no doubt, with the unknown. As if though Reed with no Romeo Doubs or Downs with no Pittman don't have upside. I mean, they're great too. Notice I do not bring up Xavier Worthy at all. No thanks. Love Jalen McMillan. And then, so for rookie receivers, there's also Omar Cooper, who has had a massive, massive rise. Let me try to. There he is, Omar Cooper, 135, right below my eyes. Has jumped Denzel Boston. I think he's fair. I have Cooper ranked ahead. I love what he brings to the table for sure. The Debo comps are obviously outlandish because Debo is one of a kind when he was in his prime, but Cooper does have that physicality. You love to see a guy that you like. He's a wolf guy. Denzel Boston, big body, touchdown upside, but those guys that don't separate as much, don't love. Don't generate a ton of ads. I do like Boston, though. I mean, I'll take the stabs at these prices. This is where it's starting to get to Denzel Boston ends up catching 10 touchdowns and he was going around 14. And should we be surprised at all? These are the Keon Coleman that worked. Maybe just the Keon Coleman 2.0. That would be horrific. But what if he ends up with Josh Allen and it works out? And DJ Moore and him complement each other perfectly. There's worlds. So I really don't mind these prices. I guess the reason I don't even have a ton of them, though, is one, like Keaton Mitchell goes in that range, and I'm a huge Mitchell guy. But 2, I don't think you get a steep drop off when you start going into look at one of my favorite guys here is Zachariah Branch. I might have 25% right now, and he might be nothing. I know the Screen Merchant argument. Branch goes right around this range. Where is he? I must have passed him. Zachariah Branch, 214. So Torrey Horton, Hollywood Brown, no thanks. Come on, Pat Bryant. I'd take Branch over Surratt, who I do like as a rookie. Jeremy Brown. all kind of highlight the point. If you don't like Branch, you don't believe in too much production on screens, what was it, 53%, something nuts? I get it. Also see a freakish athlete, like obviously Tyreek's one of one, but that idea of what if the Chiefs draft him in round 2 and he's just a better Xavier Worthy for a 214 price? You know, but I also love Bernard. I love Surratt. I love Brazel. So like you're getting around 16 to 20. You could rifle off 2 to 3 rookie receiver picks, no problem. And you're getting that last year probably cost. I mean, you look at Jaden Higgins was going in around like 10. I guess I get the bet, but maybe some of these guys end up jumping there, and you get the ADP closing line. Nothing sexier than some sweet ADP closing line value. At times, I prefer Tyreek Hill. Just he's got the unknown upside almost at this point too. But I love tacking on a Brazel, a Bernard. A huge fan of Bernard. Think he fits the modern NFL quite well. I don't have as much as I'd like, so I want more of him. I have a ton of Branch, so I don't mind adding more. But I think I'm going to make a concerted effort to get more Bernard, and then also one other guy I wanted to highlight, Antonio Williams. Renner was talking about him today. And from what it sounds like, similarly intriguing separator. Chris Bell, if he gets healthy, love him. More so dynasty pick, like it a lot, but Ted Hurst could be intriguing. But yeah, Antonio Williams, somebody I don't have much of, but liked what I heard from Renner today on that Establish the Run show. And I believe he's going to talk about him on the Fantasy Point show. I haven't quite finished yet. Cannot wait to. But that's kind of the cutoff. I want to start diversifying my bag, and in these rookie wide receivers, I love it. I think there's a ton of right value. That doesn't stop me from going in on, let's say, Omar Cooper or Denzel Boston in this range, but it takes the pressure. Like I think in many years I would be hammering. I love Cooper. I should have more, but I was doing these drafts so early that like you could get Cooper at 200. He was going where those other guys are going. So I already have some, and I also. I don't know. You get that similar bet, not as good of a bet. Obviously, he wouldn't be going 70 picks before, but I don't think it's a 70 pick gap. Is all I'm kind of getting at. Alrighty, that's my receiver takes. Do you think there's going to be some value there? I really, really do, and I've definitely been trying to tackle some. Maybe not as crazy as like last year, where I was going bananas over rookie running backs, largely to a fault. But tacking on 2 a draft, yeah, it's as good of upside as you're getting that late. All right, let's go to the tight end position and wrap this up. Thank you again so much, guys, for watching this, and then we'll get a draft going and call it a night. Hopefully you're finding this helpful, though, whether you're here for rookies just in general or if you actually do play best ball and you're liking this, great. Any thumbs up or feedback is always greatly appreciated. Any questions you guys have, I'm happy to answer them as we go as well. But let's dive on in here, because I do think tight end is worth highlighting, largely because of one, Kenyon Sadiq, one of the most freakish combines you'll ever see, could land somewhere amazing. I think he's going too high to almost his own fault, but it could be a very dangerous weapon for like Bryce Young, even, who I don't love, but the Panthers need a true target. I like Coker, but Sadiq could bring some real intriguing upside. Maybe he's the heir apparent to Kelsey. I've seen that narrative out there. There's certainly the Broncos probably intrigue me the most of any NFL team right now, but he's a freak. And so I like it, but I also I'm punting tight end more often than not. So if I had, call Trey McBride, he falls in round 2. I can't let it happen. And now I'm like, yeah, I don't like any running backs, receivers. Sure, I'll tack on Sadiq because I already have my home run. We know that's why you would take McBride there. I don't necessarily need a Travis Kelce also racking up that weekly floor. But if I'm having my first tight end at this juncture, I really do love Kelce. Really like Goddard, who sandwiched Sadiq. So I don't have a ton of Sadiq, but I totally understand the bet. Definitely intrigued in Dynasty as well. The rumblings that I've heard is, why did he dip at the end of the year? Why did another tight end just suddenly get vaulted over him? Understand it. I can't always rationalize a coach that might not – who am I to say a coach doesn't know what he's doing? But I can't punish somebody if the coach is making that play, but also why is he putting himself in there. All to say, though, I think you can get a very, very similar bet rookie upside in Eli Stowers. I have 29, I think, right now, percent, maybe even 30. I've been hammering him on for a long time. And now today, the Mike Evans comparison comes out that teams are evaluating him as a wide receiver. Phenomenal. I'm so happy to have as much of him as I do right now. I'll keep hammering him up. I already take him above once you get to Chico-Conquo, maybe not, but I'm taking him over Barner, Schultz, Hawkinson right now. Love Stowers. The rest of the class, I know there's like there's some like really intriguing prospects, but I need to know the landing spot. I'm not really drafting any others. So right now for rookies, Eli Stowers. I should probably know how to say the guy I have 30% and way too much money invested in right now. Huge fan. Many shares. But yeah, that is wrapping up my rookie class. I'll do a quick summary while we wait for the big board to load here. But if you want to draft with us, come on in. Be happy to draft with people. 5 people up for a draft. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Happy to answer any of them. And again, so to summarize the rookies on Truth, I love obviously streaming with Truth. He had his kids are running around to different practices and stuff. Totally understand. In that sense, we should be firing back up together next week, but the draft's coming. So I wanted to kind of get my draft take started here. It's only like 2-3 weeks away. I cannot wait for that. But thank you again so much. If you haven't played an Underdog, code RSJ will get you $50 free for a $5 deposit. Not a bad return right there. No, it's awesome. I'm addicted to Underdog. I believe they also still match a significant amount as well. I think up to 1,050% match, something of that nature. So certainly take advantage of whatever that offer is at this point as well. Love playing the draft games over there. And yeah, so to summarize my rookie takes, it looks like we're waiting for one more person. Quarterback, not really doing much with Mendoza in the 150s even. Don't mind the Ty Simpson last overall round pick, the Tyler Shuck aspect of it. Running back, Jeremiah Love could be a true top 7 running back, top 5 even if he goes to the Commanders. Otherwise, you're just trying to find who goes to the I guess the Vikings, they just popped in my mind. They could certainly be a nice landing spot, but mostly the most important value holes there are the Commanders and the Seahawks, in my opinion. True running back 2, whoever lands there. And I'm going to load up the full screen of this. Share this tab instead. We're picking 6th on this one. All righty. So, yeah, in terms of the rookies, that's kind of my running back takes. We'll see where they land, but I like taking stabs at them all. I like Jonah Coleman as he falls to the 140s. I especially love Emmett Johnson. Rookie receivers love the late-round stabs, that back-weighted upside that we all crave, and for a fraction of the prices that you were paying last year. So there's going to be some real big hits. Zachariah Branch, my personal favorite, and then Eli Stowers have a ton. Like the Sadiq bet as well, but Stowers, he's going to range where it's just like, well, I'm going to take him. I have been taking him almost every time. And I'm intrigued to see what his price ends up being here. We have the 6th pick, though, so let's fire this up. We'll just kind of shift to a general fantasy chat and talk here. I'll highlight rookies. I'm not going to force rookies on the team. I'm going to draft the best possible team from the 6th spot that I can. I prefer going McCaffrey over Taylor. Taylor was so Daniel Jones dependent, so win dependent, maybe Daniel Jones plays the whole year. Maybe Daniel Jones is just as good. Also, betting a lot on Daniel Jones. Yes, he looked phenomenal. I don't want to take that away from him. They were the number 1 scoring offense in the league, and Taylor was truly wrecking leagues. If you get that for a full season, my God. But it didn't happen for a full season. Taylor at any point, Daniel Jones at any point could turn into a pumpkin. And so if I take him 7, let's put it this way. I'm splitting hairs here. I still have him 7, but at 6, if I have to choose between him and McCaffrey, I'll go with who was the number 1 player in fantasy last year, who's still with Shanahan. Ideally, they're beefing this lineup in the draft. We'll see. But Mike Evans comes in, adds a field stretching layer. It's not going to be efficient, not going to be pretty. It might be 400 touches. He might break down, but he's been the number one running back in fantasy pretty much every year he stayed healthy. So I go McCaffrey. Love all of them in the first round. I do love running back starts. So I'm hopeful Hampton, and I know Achane has taken a hit, but I am this late going to place that bet. And honestly, it is unfortunate, but even like this running back economy, I like going Chase Brown. If you got Jeremiah Love nuked, that would be horrible. He's toast. But otherwise, there's no real running back that could land here that I think interferes with the role that we saw down the stretch when Burrow's healthy. He's a top 5 running back. And if I don't have a ton of neighbors, this is where I'd be okay. I actually do love Drake London. Rashee Rice have been screaming up boards, and rightfully so. I'm going to go Chase Brown. I'm going to lock in the 2 running backs and then hope Rashee falls to me. I wonder if anybody has drafts him as we go. But again, any likes, hearts, reactions on Facebook or whatever, all of it appreciated and helps us grow. So thank you again, guys. I'm going to just load up my rankings too. You can find these rankings too at RotoStreetJournal.com. We've been breaking into fantasy baseball as well. For those of you interested, we got my man AJ leading the charge, getting the waivers, the closers every week. And then one of my favorite analysts, both in the football and I don't do a ton of baseball, I won't lie, but I've always liked this guy's football takes, and I know he's well regarded for his baseball takes. Frank Amaranti will be joining RSJ. Very excited to do buy low, sell high. So we got some great stuff in the offseason cooking here. I'm starting to ramp up so my content as well, getting ready for the guide. I'm trying to get ahead finally this year. We'll see if I succeed. But, yeah, so Rashee Rice does go 23. I did not expect him to make it all the way back to me. And he does not. I'm probably looking at Etienne, T. Higgins I like. I do like Jacobs. Jacobs, unfortunately, does go. I like Josh Allen, but not enough. And I want to add some more Etienne. I do believe in the Saints offense this year. I think their line, they've injected a ton of first-round talent into that, and then largely we saw it start to come together. Olave's good. I'm intrigued to see who else they add out wide, because I think there's a lot being left on the table here. That'd be a juicy spot for a Tate, a Lemon. See that offense really get juicy. The question is, what does happen with Kamara? Does he stay? Is he a thorn? It could be like almost like the Keenan Allen of running backs, where it's just like, this guy isn't doing anything, but he's also ruining the upside. I've never been like a huge Etienne guy. Most often I have been going Kyron Williams there, but I do want to add a little more Etienne. Etienne shares. And sometimes Kyron makes it back in the 4th, which is crazy to me. So we've gone running back, McCaffrey, Brown, who hindsight, maybe I go Rice there. I have Rice ahead of Brown in my rankings. Very wishful thinking that Rice would fall here. Last weekend he was. People have woken up very quickly. This start is insane. Gibbs, Rice, Nico. Terrifying. The top 2 is such an advantage when you can, whether you decide to go running back, or 2 receivers like these guys did, absolute juice. But there are still some receivers that I think the prices are depressed at wide receiver right now. Running backs surging. So I feel like what used to be the receiver avalanche is now the running back avalanche. And why am I continuing to go upstream with both? I don't know. Do love Burden. Do love Terry, Devontae. Devonta Smith did go, so that's often been a 4th-round target in anticipation of A.J. Brown possibly leaving. Would love to come away with there goes Evans. One of Adams, Moore, McLaurin, Adunze. Big fan. Although I did just get Burden, so probably not Adunze. Don't hate Loveland, though. Waddle, certainly would be happy with. How many picks away? 6 picks away. But I mean, that's the one thing now is like if the receivers do fly. I don't even hate Watson, though. I do like these running backs like Tootin. Skydabo is kind of too risky right now. I have enough. I don't need more. So I'd like any of these top 3. I'd prefer one of the receivers fall, but if it's Loveland, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, he has slashing the ability to be that next Bowers, McBride type of guy, and they just lost DJ Moore, so looks like it will be one of the receivers, and it is Adams, and I am in love with that. I was taking him early round 4 for a while, and I don't feel great about that because of how cheap he's become, but it's one of those guys that you like have 50% of, and then you're just going to keep having 50% of, and you hope it pans out. 14 touchdowns in 14 games. Stafford, MVP level play. One of the better picks on the board right now as well. And what if Puka, people are acting like, what if Puka doesn't lose it at some point? Like, he seems like a ticking time bomb in many ways. Hopefully checking in this rehab will help him out. But there's a real chance that Adams, whether by injury or Puka doing Puka things these days, Adams could be the number 1 for that offense, which the offense will probably take. I almost rather have Puka in there because that's what creates such advantageous touchdown opportunities for Adams, no doubt. But either way, there's upside potentially to the further. The guy's been a top 10 wide receiver in points per game, I think, over a decade straight. Maybe there's like 9 out of 10, I think it was. So keep letting him fall to 54. I get it. I get the argument, but touchdown dependent. What if he's not on his best legs? We'll see. This is the range I do prefer going quarterback. One, because Drake May's right there. I have Burden, so I would consider Caleb. The thing with Caleb, though, so I always like to check is like Loveland went right here. So if Caleb doesn't go right now, where did Adunze fall? Adunze was right here. Very easy to push Caleb to here. So I don't feel the pressure to go him, especially because I do expect May to be gone. So I'm going to go Drake May because I think he's the insane value. Like A.J. Brown goes there, even if he doesn't. Fine. I'm happy to take May. The quarterback 2 last year at quarterback 7 prices. This is a great range because quarterback prices as a whole have gone berserk. I think this is where you can find upside. You can get rushing still. You can get Drake May. The last year's unbelievable quarterback too. I get they'll have a tougher schedule, but he might also have A.J. Brown, and I think the Pats, that offense was humming for many games. They'll still face the Jets and Dolphins 4 times this year, at minimum. One of them will probably be Week 17. This is a fun range for my wide receiver 3, though. I would go Caleb if he falls. But I do also really like Michael Wilson. I'm intrigued. We talked about rookies. Jordan Tyson. Looks like the positive buzz is not fully caught up because Tyson is falling right now. He is very intriguing. To get ahead of the quarterback race, I do often go like Trevor Lawrence here. But I am intrigued to add Caleb Williams or Michael Wilson. And if not, probably would just slap on Lawrence. Oof, hate to see Wilson go. All right, thank God. All right, Caleb Williams, because I don't have a ton of him. Don't love his 68 price. Don't love that he goes above Drake May. So I don't have a lot of Caleb. But you saw how I might have played that stack there again. I noticed that Loveland had gone and Dunze had gone back here. And I certainly don't want any Caleb Naked Williams. Naked Caleb Williams, yeah. That's true. Like, I don't need that. I'll take Naked Drake May all day as a Pats fan. But Naked Caleb Williams, no thanks. But in that case, loved how it stacked up. So just to recap, I know we do get some podcast listeners at the Fantasy Fullback. We just kind of toss this audio on. But if you have a commute and you prefer that, by all means, check us out. Like us. All the reviews are super helpful. So we have McCaffrey, Chase Brown, pick 6 here. Etienne, just that running back start. I certainly think, if maybe I go Drake London in the future. I love Rashee Rice. I think that's probably – but I don't regret it because, I love the price on Burden and Adams now that Adams is round 5. So I like it. Quarterback market getting ahead, even setting the pace here with Drake May, Caleb Williams. And what this also does is I don't even have to get another quarterback. That's 3 QB is the rage, but maybe I open up a roster spot if receivers not feeling great and I take another stab at one of those rookies. All righty, we are up next. That's why it's good to stay fluid, jellyfish through the drafts. All righty. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tucker Kraft. I don't love the Romeo Dobbs bet, even as somebody who has. I'm going to go Tucker Kraft. These receivers are probably going to get ugly, but that's okay. I get the Drake May Dobbs connection, but if AJ Brown comes, it's just like he's going to fall 50 picks, and even if he doesn't, like I'll go Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry. I'll get him stacked up. But I'll go Tucker Kraft, an absolute monster for right now. And I think I like Jaden Reed in this range, and now I'm creating a Jordan Love kind of thing. Do like Wanda. I mean, this is my favorite range for tight end, whether it's Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta. I'm into them all. I know it's unstacked at the moment, but I do like George Kittle, so I don't hate if Brock Purdy falls. I know that would seem insane, but I have McCaffrey. That's positively correlated. I have 3 unbelievable QBs if that's how it plays out. I'm not opposed to going Pitts or Laporta and having 2 I don't have to get any more tight ends from that point on. But then it takes away – I love Stowers. There's a pocket of tight ends I absolutely love, so – I don't mind plucking one here, but part of me is like, you can only get so far behind at receiver. And like Jaden Reed, I'm totally cool with as my 3rd. Starts to get a little cold and ugly if you go much past that. The thing is, like with Purdy, if I leave him, he's too positively correlated to McCaffrey. Like it's his own stack, and Reed goes. So you know what? Fuck it. I mean, that's a dynamite quarterback room. It seems insane. I wouldn't do redraft this way, folks. But 3 quarterbacks continues to sim out positively, and certainly when you can get these type of values on guys, does that make Drake May expendable? Certainly. Still love the pick, though. It's like, who do I truly love? At wide receiver, I do like Washington. I do like Wilson, and I do like Tyson. So maybe you do give up May there, but week 17, he runs for facing Buffalo in a shootout and runs for 2 and throws 3. Sweet. All righty. So we talked about price. I got to get in the receiver game, though. So this is where this whole situation came up with like Josh Downs versus Concepcion, who just went, who I would have been intrigued by. But I'd say my eyes are on Downs as a safe 3. Quentin Johnston, not into Golden. I do like McMillan. He's a very nice like 4th. I don't want him as my 3rd, but I now kind of have to draft George Kittle, which I'm happy to pair him with Tucker Kraft. Like That's about the most badass tight end room. And this is the one thing I was going to get at is I have a lot of Stafford. I knew that Puka's team up here, there's no way he's going to pass at either 117 or 124. So I don't have – I would have – but he also wasn't going to go in there. So I knew I had a good shot at Stafford potentially falling there. And part of me is like, YOLO it, throw a fourth quarterback on the mix here because I do have Devontae, but that's – I mean, why not give it a try in a 20-round draft at the same time? Like, you got to be different somehow. Fuck it. This is probably not good value, but I don't know. Has a 4-quarterback team ever been plus EV? If this was an 18 round, of course, you don't even think about that strategy. And I do think quarterback prices will largely change, but it's just like, how does anybody match up with me at QB now in this league? In half PPR, that's about as important as it gets. All of them were 7+ pick discounts. I really do wish I didn't. Like, now looking back, fancy butterfly effect, throw that out there. Now I really don't like the Drake May pick. Would have much preferred a third receiver of Wilson, Tyson, and Washington. And this would have been one of my favorite teams I've drafted. Because I would have still had Williams, Purdy, Stafford at QB. My God. But then I would have had a wide receiver 3 of either Tyson, Wilson, or Washington. Would have loved it. So we'll be playing a lot of catch-up at wide receiver here. Time to find some guys. Love Jalen McMillan. Omar Cooper would love him to fall. If not him, Denzel Boston. Let's start taking some stabs. Good. This is a range where I typically would want running backs because I do like Jonathan Brooks. I like JCM, even though I think they'll add somebody. I love Keaton Mitchell. But I need to get some decent receiver shots. And as much as I love the late ones, I still want the Travis Hunter, Ayuk. I don't even hate Debo. I know he hasn't signed yet, but he's gonna have a role somewhere. I should get Kayshon Boutte, no doubt. Ridley's a nice source of routes. Tyreek Hill. Got to get my boy Stowers. I'm not opposed to. I want to stack up for sure. Purdy with Christian Kirk. This could be a team with 2 tight ends, no doubt. Probably going to need it. I'm going to want this team to have 8 to 9 receivers. So let's call it 9, 13. So I have 7 more. So, yeah. I mean, that's why I like these 20-round drafts. You can really get crafty and test some new things out. Do like the tight ends in this range, too, in terms of Kelsey, Kincaid, likely. If I don't go in round 9, but I went round 9, and I have no pressure. I'd be happy with Kraft and Stowers, Kraft and Hunter Henry stack up my guy, Okonkwo. Would have loved Omar Cooper there, but I'll try out Denzel Boston here, see where he lands. Let me make sure I scroll down too. So I will fully say this is not one of my favorite teams. I don't typically advise, especially if you're only going to do 3 of these teams, don't do 4 quarterbacks. I'm not saying this is a great strategy, but I do think to beat out, however many thousand people are in this, you got to do some funky stuff and take some swings and get some home runs. This team would have been a home run had I gone receiver instead of Drake May. Any of Wilson, Tyson, Washington as my 3rd, and then these 2 as my 4th, 5th. I love it. And then you can take some of those rookie stabs. Going to certainly be taking some stabs late. Hope you find a couple gold that end up being wide receivers, 3-4s at an off, decent clip. because I'm not getting less than 22 fantasy points from my quarterback every week. That's nice. My 3 running backs should be very steady. I don't need more than 5. Could get by with 4. In a 20 rounder, maybe that leaves me light, but if all of them stay healthy, like hyper fragile with a ton of receivers, fun strategy to try out. Just quarterback obsessed. All right, let me one pick away here. I'm gonna go with Hunter. Just keep injecting some receiver juice. I was intrigued by Ayuk, intrigued by Mitchell, intrigued by also, stacking up my tight end Hunter Henry, Chigakonkwo, Debo, my boy Emmett Johnson. Like, there's still enough running backs. I really do like Mitchell, but maybe he falls back, and if he doesn't, I like Emmett Johnson. I'm fine with Dylan Sampson. I'm set at running back with those 3. I only need max 2 more. But there does get to a point where running backs like, come on, dude. I really do typically like this like pocket. I'm sure they all kind of went near each other. Let me scroll up and show you guys 6 picks away. I was highlighting him on last week's like sleeper wave 2 of free agency show. Rodriguez 120, like that. And then Gainwell 122, I like that. I like Brooks 144. There's Krosky, Merritt, Coleman. Intriguing running back bets. Love the Godwin pick here, by the way. He's oftentimes where I can take stabs at quarterbacks early, is because I get him at my wide receiver 3 here, and I feel great about that. So he's typically a great pick. Let's see what else comes our way, though. Oh, we're on the clock. Emmett Johnson did go too, huh? Oh, no, he didn't go. So I'm going to go Emmett Johnson. Get some of that rookie upside. So mapping out a game plan. I know I want Kirk. So 187 is where I'm probably looking at Kirk. But does that cost me Stowers? I got Booty, who might not get drafted by everybody else. There's still receivers. But I think if he's there, I'm going to take Stowers. Because there's enough receivers that could fall. I don't know that there's a bet like Stowers left, and I think his price is going to keep coming up. So I think that's who I am. Yeah, well, thanks, JC Boone. Ends that dream. So this is where like Booty makes the most sense to stack with May, but again, I need some home runs, and I don't think Tyreek's gonna be okay. But if he is and he lands somewhere good, even if it's like the second half of the year, you're getting him catching passes from Mahomes again, whatever it might be. There's more juice than Kayshon Booty's best case. And if AJ Brown lands there, it's a big hit. So I like Booty. If he falls back around, maybe. But I honestly like Christian Kirk's like upside a little bit more. As the Drake May owner. I do think, Malik Washington will get target competition, but there's definitely some room for targets from a decent, efficient thrower. Malik Willis, certainly not throughout his career, but last year. I have no idea if anybody enjoys these thoughts, so please do let me know if you're liking the show. Thumbs up helps, but any feedback. Is this a helpful process to talk through what I'm thinking as I draft? Usually I have the truth to ask me questions and have a little bit back and forth. I find to be much more enjoyable. I'm sure it's better than listening to this voice ramble, but I appreciate you being here. So thank you again. I'm just going to keep starring the receivers. There's plenty, and plenty that we can stack. And like even at tight end, like I don't mind waiting out at this point for Ferguson this late. I don't need my second tight end, so I would have loved Stowers there. I think he's the absolute slam dunk pick, but he doesn't land. All good. Kirk does go. That's unfortunate. Would have enjoyed him. I'll stack up Booty. I mean, if Brown doesn't come, and even if he does, Booty's a good blocker. He, in best ball, has those spike weeks. Definitely willing to go deep to him. LSU, wide receiver U. Big fan. All right, so let's do some math. I'd like probably 2 more picks to be receiver. It's a 9. 1 more tight end. Probably want the tight end sooner than later if I'm going to go with only 2. Could go to 3. So do I do that truly? I'd like a tight running back rather too. I have CMC. I love Jordan James late, but I do have CMC. I like the Ray Davis bet. Justice Hill might even be more useful because he's going to put up his own points. I think DeMarcado both as a handcuff and maybe even standalone pass catcher. Intrigued. Sean Tucker's been good to me in the past, so I still think receivers are priority here. And I do like Chimere Dike, but I think there's a lot of overlap with him and Wandale, who Daboll, hand brings in. So I got 1 more receiver. I could stack up Kyle Williams. I have a ton of him already, though. I do want more Antonio Williams. So I'm probably going to get Ferguson if he falls to me next, just to lock up my second tight end. He's a correlated tight end bet. There is Tonches that I could pair with Purdy. I mean, so Purdy didn't have, I was hoping to backstack Purdy. Let's see. Purdy at 102. I would have loved Reed. He did not fall to me. I mean, maybe you just go Wandale and eat those targets, but receiver did dry up fast. So I really think this was the butterfly effect. If I could take 1 move back and do it again, it is that. Let me just kind of Drake May move right here. Would have much rather preferred Washington, Wilson, Tyson as a 3, and then I'm not forced to load up. But I'm going to tell you what, if any of Boston, Hunter, Hill hit, those are the 3 home runs to be a true weekly contender. McMillan is going to have his spikes. No more. Mike Evans had 120 to end the year. I'm really liking to take more stabs on him before this ends. I think I'll get 3 and okay, so from there, I need 2 of my 3 running backs. McCaffrey to stay healthy, of course. But that's the whole point of a McCaffrey. He stays healthy, you don't need any more weekly help. You almost could handcuff him with Jordan James. Yeah, this guy has 3 tight ends, so just like someone would have said that about me and my quarterbacks. Hopefully he doesn't go to 4. And I can get Fergie. There's plenty of receivers that I like. Yeah, I'll go Terrence. Keenan, any news? And then I'll probably shoot for. I love Zachariah Branch. If he's there, I'll take the stab. I've been betting on him all off season. I'll continue to put the chips in, and that'll give me enough. the receivers end up being Bird and Adams. I love the top two. Would have loved Tyson Walker or Parker Washington, or Michael Wilson. Then I have three I feel good about. So that's my takeaway here is don't push it too much. But that being said, obviously the quarterback room is insane with May, Caleb, Purdy, Stafford. May is the one where the receivers could have really changed this, I think. But again, McMillan, Boston, Hunter, Hill, Booty, Brazel, take one more rookie stab. I do think I need a running back that could be a producer without needing an injury. And to me, that's probably Justice Hill. So I'm going to go him. And then whether it ends up being Kyle Williams, big year. I like the flashes I saw. I don't hate Ted Hurst. I like Jacoby Lane, but I already have a good amount of him. So maybe Brennan, a couple guys are just these upside rookies that nobody's thinking of, nobody's drafting. A good why not toss them in. So before we get to our last pick, again, one more time, if you want to play, there's a link in the description. There's code RSJ, $5, you get 50 free bucks, and they will also match, I believe, up to 1,000, 50% match, which is great. Thank you again so much. I have rankings at rotostreetjournal.com. The rookies are not ranked, so I know it's not quite as valuable for this. I used to do best ball rankings. Nobody really used them or looked at them other than myself, so I still do them for myself, but and then we'll try to get a weekly stream, usually me and my guy, The Truth. But some nights it might be a solo stream like tonight. Earlier, if you're just kind of jumping in later here, did cover the 2026 rookies from a best ball lens. So if you enjoy rookie talk, want to hear about where they're going, what my expectations are for them from a redraft year-long perspective, by all means, please do tune in. And thanks again. Greatly appreciate you being here. We're going to wrap up this draft. It looks like I am not up for a little bit. So I went McCaffrey pick 6, McCaffrey, Brown, Etienne, Burden, Adams, May, the one pick of the butterfly effect I wish I could have back, but still don't. I'm intrigued to see how it goes with 4 elite quarterbacks. May, Williams, Tucker Kraft, Purdy, Stafford. They have McMillan, Boston, Hunter, just starting to take stabs. So that's the receiver threes that are oh God, what are we doing here? I'm up in 3 picks, and we'll wrap up the review. And I'm eyeing a receiver to round out this receiver room, take one last stab. Most intrigued by Antonio Williams, could stack up Kyle Williams. And then Brennan Thompson, also an intriguing rookie that's not really getting drafted at all. Could be a complete Hail Mary. Skylar Bell, enjoy his profile as well. 2 picks. The whole 4592 roster construction medium. There goes Antonio Williams. Would have liked to have him. Screw it. We'll go Kyle Williams and stack up Drake May. This is the Drake May, no AJ Brown, still getting upside. Booty or Kyle Williams take a big step type of team. All right, let's wrap up the review there of the squad. So just kind of critical mission with only 2 receivers on the roster. Add upside. I think McMillan, we don't know where Boston lands, but Bills, boom. He's going 5 rounds earlier. Hunter, maybe just a corner. Somebody gets hurt and they need him. We saw that last game where he had 14 targets. There's upside. Tyreek Hill, probably not. But again, you can tell yourself the story of Hunter, Hill, Boston, anybody going to the Chiefs. Hunter obviously not going anywhere. So maybe that's Brazel. And then getting a couple Patriots stacks to make sure May wasn't a complete waste. Would have really liked, where did he go? Christian Kirk. honestly might have been able to push Tyreek. I've seen him fall as high as like 187. But who am I kicking myself more over missing? If Hill does look healthy, you see one clip of him sprinting, and then he signs with the Chiefs. Where's he going? Here, hundreds maybe. So worthy stabs. I need Kraft to be healthy. Ferguson's a complete Hail Mary. This is where I would have not hated, like, had I not gone May, had I felt better about my receivers and not needed 9, would have rather sacrificed one of my receiver picks for a tight end. Don't mind the 5 running backs at all. So where's my favorite tight end pick? Kelsey 146. So let's say I don't need Boston and I can get Kelsey there. I like that. I like probably what it should have stacked Hunter right here. I have seen him fall to this area before, not tonight. Maybe you go a Okonkwo, Johnson, or Hunter Henry right there instead of Travis Hunter. Probably the play. But other than that, I like the team. It's certainly different, unique. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you prefer podcasts, the Fantasy Fullback Dive, anywhere you listen, should be up. I'm at Roto Street Wolf on Twitter. You can find my rankings updated regularly at rotostreetjournal.com, where we also have debuted a ton of great baseball content. If you play baseball, check it out. My man AJ is the best. But thanks again for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And we're going to try to do this once a week. I'll try to be better about tweeting out what the timing is going to be moving forward. But thanks again, guys. In a world full of fancy sheep, be the wolf. Later.